I'm a huge fan of horror films, so I went and saw Sinister today, and it didn't suck. Sinister is the new film from director Scott Derrickson. He made The Exorcism of Emily Rose, which is okay, and The Day the Earth Stood Still, but now he's got Sinister, and this movie wasn't too bad. The movie stars Ethan Hawke, who's a famous true crime novelist who intentionally moves into a new home where 4 people were brutally murdered in the backyard. The family that was killed was a family of 5, and only 4 of them were murdered. And so one of them is missing, and Ethan Hawke needs some new material to write about, so that's why he moves his entire family into this new home. He goes up into the attic of his new home and finds a box labeled Home Movies. The box is filled with some old Super 8 film reels and a projector, and he sets up this projector and starts playing these old videos. These videos show several grisly murders, so Ethan Hawke starts investigating these murders and trying to find some sort of answer so that he can make a new book about it. I went into this movie with fairly low expectations. Not too many great horror films have come out in the past couple years, and so I wasn't expecting much, and this movie wasn't too bad. I actually really enjoyed it. Now, of course, it did have some of the really cliche horror movie moments, some of the cheap jump scares and things like that, but overall it wasn't a bad movie. When you go to see a horror movie in theaters, you kind of go in wanting to be scared, wanting to be creeped out in some way. That's why you're there. I mean, that's why you go see horror movies. And this movie definitely accomplished that. This movie is actually really creepy. It's pretty freaking scary. I'm not gonna lie. I was pretty creeped out by this movie. I'm not a huge fan of like the jump scares and things like that. Not because they freak me out or anything. They do make me jump. They accomplish the goal of making me jump. But that's not scary to me. Like, that's not really what scares me in the long run. I want to be scared 24 hours later when I'm trying to go to sleep and I can't get to sleep because I'm still creeped out by the movie. That's what I want a horror movie to do to me. And I think this movie is probably going to have that kind of an effect on me. This movie's pretty darn creepy. It does have some cheap jump scares, but it doesn't rely on the jump scares. Like, the jump scares aren't what make this movie scary. I'm also really glad that this movie's rated R. Not because it's got sex and lots of violence in it, just because I hate PG-13 horror movies. I'm tired of movies that just kind of cheat shots and don't show you enough because they're trying to get a lower rating so more people can go see them. I'm not a fan of that at all. So I like that this movie was rated R, that it didn't hold back on the violence. It's not super gruesome, but there's disturbing images that you couldn't show in a PG-13 movie, and they creep you out, and they make the movie better. So I like that the movie was rated R. This movie wasn't perfect, though. There were things that I was like, what? Like, really? For instance, like why was the sun in this movie? The son is only important in like 2 scenes, and then in other scenes, they just completely forget about him. Like, Ethan Hawke will be running in to check on his daughter, and because something's going on in the house, and he'll just completely forget about his son, like his son's not important. I didn't get that. It didn't ruin the movie for me or anything, but that just didn't make any sense. Like, the son just wasn't important at certain scenes. Like, he wasn't even a part of the family, practically. I didn't understand that. It's like, he's just hanging out in his room, and nobody's checking on him. That didn't make sense to me. There are some other things that bother me too. Like, you pretty much figure out what's going on about halfway through the movie, and in no way does that like impact like the creepiness of the end of the movie. It's creepy all the way through, but you pretty much figure out what's going on about halfway through, and it takes the whole movie for Ethan Hawke to go, oh, no, duh, that's what's happening. I'm not going to spoil anything. Like, there's a line where he figures out what's going on, and he's like, oh, that's what's happening. And I'm not going to say what he says, because I don't want to spoil anything. And you're sitting there in the audience going, yeah, duh, that's what's happening. Like, we figured that out already. You don't need to tell us. But that didn't ruin the movie or anything for me. This movie was not bad. I think it's a decent horror movie. It's creepy all the way through. It doesn't have like a completely ridiculous concept that totally ruins the movie. It's not a bad rated R horror movie. It was creepy. It was disturbing. The acting was decent. It was pretty well made for the most part. I mean, it was a decent movie. It wasn't painful to watch. I was fairly happy with Sinister. Now, if you don't like horror movies, don't go see Sinister. Don't do it. But if you do like horror movies, you're not going to be overly disappointed with this. It's at a good time of the month. We're craving horror movies, and I think this is one. It doesn't completely satisfy our hunger, but it's one that's not bad. So go check it out. Anyways, if you enjoyed this review, click like below and then subscribe to my channel and go check out all my other reviews. I don't know what my next review is going to be. There's not a whole lot of other stuff in the theaters that I really care about, so we'll see. But I might even do like a TV show review or a video game review. Yeah, we'll see. Comment below this video and let me know what your favorite horror film of all time is. Mine is probably Halloween or The Shining, but comment below, let me know what yours is. And thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.